I remember this day very vividly because it had just been a heavy week of back to back shootings of unarmed African American males. And for myself, being the operations manager for Black America Web, and being that our syndication company is the largest urban radio syndicator in the country, a lot of our programming was focused on these two African American males who had been shot unjustified. So we had been enrolling live coverage. D.L. Hughley was on air, Reverend Al Sharpton was on air, Ricky Smiley was on air.
The Ricky Smiley Morning Show, baby. Let's go.
All right, Ricky Smiley Morning Show. Hey, the time right now is about 24 minutes after the hour, y'all. A lot of stuff going on. Oh my God, man, I don't even know where to start this morning. First of all, we want to offer our condolences to everybody that have lost their life in the past 48 hours from the victims in Baton Rouge and Minnesota, and now
We were working on stories, and we were listening to audio from the D.L. Hughley show, and very much so, we were all tuned into what was going on, what was happening. We were getting footage. We were looking for news stories. Every little detail mattered at this instance because we became this information hub for Black Americans to get a very trustworthy source of information on what's next. So, Ricky Smiley broke format. D.L. Hughley broke format. They stopped playing music. And it's very, very rare. And it's instances like this where even Ricky Smiley, who was supposed to be on vacation, came in and was still on the air. D.L. Hughley show had an entire tribute. We stopped playing music.
Every parent that I know, every black or brown parent I know, has a conversation with their children when they tell them exactly to act, how to act around the police. That is abhorrent. I keep my clothes on, and my wife will tell you, I keep my clothes on in case my children need me in the middle of the day or in the middle of the night. And I just do not understand. We love our children, we love our parents, our mothers, our fathers. They are brutalized, and nobody says anything. It's too much. It's too much.
So there was a planned protest in Dallas, rightfully so. There's been many protests that have been going on in downtown. And for me personally, this kind of struck very close to home because I had just signed my lease for an apartment in downtown on that same street. So as I left the office in North Dallas, not too far away from downtown, I started getting reports of a shooting that had happened.
This is breaking news from NBC5.
We interrupt this evening with breaking news out of downtown Dallas. A planned protest there has erupted into gunfire. We're still trying to get information about exactly what has happened, but protests were planned in relation to shootings in other parts of the country tonight.
This is an NBC News special report. Here's Brian Williams.
And good evening to those of you joining us on our NBC stations across the country. We have been in live rolling coverage this evening on MSNBC, and we'll return to that as well. We are covering something of a national emergency that is unfolding in the city of Dallas, Texas tonight, and Americans of a certain age won't need help to grasp the irony of a situation that happened within distance of Dealey Plaza, where many of the dead and wounded in this mass shooting tonight have been taken to Parkland Hospital in Dallas.
it's 1 minute past the hour on the TJMS. Sybil and Jay are here. It's Friday, and it's so hard when you have to face Friday and you feel like a damper has been put on your Friday. Well, Sybil has so many details on the horribly intense situation here in Dallas that occurred last night.
Sybil, it's pathetic, and in the words of our president, just a vicious, calculated, despicable attack, probably the worst attack on law enforcement officials since 9/11.
And I don't understand it. Now, I'm real upset this morning because we sat up here trying to even put out a video on Facebook yesterday, trying to figure out how we can get some justice or whatever, and somebody that made a bad decision to take it into their own hands and go out here and target and kill 5 police officers. And those police officers that was killed, they didn't kill that man in Baton Rouge in Minnesota. They didn't. I understand the anger, but 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Coming in that morning was surreal because there was nobody on the roads. It just seemed like Dallas was a ghost town. And I kind of thought to myself that this is probably what it was like in New York City after 9/11. The city was shut down. Not literally, but people stayed home. People were not on the roads. People just, it just seemed like the life was taken out of the city. Like everyone knew what had just happened the night before, and it ultimately just affected everybody. When I walked into work that morning, we had a meeting in the conference room, and I remember someone saying, I know most of us or all of us didn't get much sleep last night, but it was just a surreal moment because you could tell from your coworkers that things were just not the same that day. People were very just done with everything that had been going on that week, and we just wanted to just stay to ourselves. I remember I was just very quiet that day, and everyone just had the same demeanor. People were tired of this. When is this going to get better? It literally came to a head that day, that night. And that day, I will never forget, was the quietest day in Dallas. And that was when the music stopped.